At 75, the famously elusive Bill Murray has finally opened up about his long-held admiration for Gene Hackman. But to understand the weight behind his words, you have to know the winding, remarkable journey that shaped Murray himself. Bill Murray entered the world as William James Murray on September 21, 1950, in Wilmette, Illinois. He grew up in a bustling Irish Catholic household as one of 9 children, a life defined by a mix of humor, loud energy, and real hardship. His father, Edward Joseph Murray II, earned a living as a lumber salesman, while his mother, Lucille, worked in a mailroom and bore most of the responsibility of raising the large family. When Bill was just 17, tragedy struck. His father died from complications related to diabetes. The loss cut deep, shaping Bill's sense of humor and rebellious streak as he used wit as both a shield and an escape. Although he would go on to become one of the most recognizable figures in comedy, Murray didn't set out to be an entertainer. Early on, he had plans to become a doctor. He even enrolled at Regis University in Denver to study pre-med. But the academic path didn't stick. He dropped out and returned to Illinois, drifting through odd jobs and trouble. In 1970, a pivotal moment arrived. He was arrested at Chicago's O'Hare Airport for trying to smuggle marijuana. That incident could have ended his ambitions, but it became the moment his life turned. Encouraged by his brothers, especially Brian Doyle Murray, who was already pursuing comedy, Bill turned toward performance. His comedic education began at the Second City, the legendary Chicago Improv Theater. There, Murray sharpened his timing, learned to embrace the unpredictable, and developed the offbeat wit that would become his signature. From there, he joined the cast of the National Lampoon Radio Hour, performing alongside future icons like John Belushi, Gilda Radner, and Harold Ramis. That experience was his bridge to television. In 1977, Murray took his first major leap into the national spotlight. He joined Saturday Night Live, replacing Chevy Chase. His first months were rocky, so much so that he once apologized on air for not being funny. But his deadpan delivery, oddball charm, and biting sarcasm soon won over the audience. By the end of his run, he wasn't just part of the cast. He was one of the show's defining stars. The late 1970s and 1980s catapulted him into movie stardom. His breakout came with Meatballs, 1979, a surprise box office hit. The following year, he gave a now legendary turn as the eccentric groundskeeper Carl Spackler in Caddyshack to 1980. That performance cemented his status as a comedic force. In Stripes, 1981, he carried another hit, but it was Ghostbusters, 1984, that made him a cultural phenomenon. As Dr. Peter Venkman, Murray's dry humor and charisma helped turn the film into one of the highest-grossing hits of the decade and a timeless comedy classic. But Murray wasn't content with being just a funny man. That same year, he took a risk by starring in The Razor's Edge, 1984, a dramatic adaptation of W. Somerset Maugham's novel. The film failed commercially and critically at the time, and the setback drove him to take a break from Hollywood. Even so, his desire to tackle deeper roles never disappeared. The 1990s became a period of creative renewal. In Groundhog Day, 1993, Murray delivered one of his greatest performances. Playing Phil Connors, a cynical weatherman trapped in a time loop, he balanced humor with emotional depth. Critics praised the film's philosophical undertones, many viewing it as a meditation on redemption, spiritual awakening, and the meaning of life. It became one of the defining films of his career. By the late 1990s and early 2000s, Murray had entered a new artistic phase. He started working with visionary directors who saw the depth beneath his comedy. His partnership with Wes Anderson began with Rushmore, 1998, where Murray portrayed a melancholic industrialist, earning widespread critical acclaim and winning over a new generation of fans. He went on to appear in The Royal Tenenbaums, 2001, The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou, 2004, and Moonrise Kingdom, 2012, bringing understated, offbeat energy to Anderson's stylized worlds. Perhaps his most lauded dramatic performance came in Lost in Translation, 2003, directed by Sofia Coppola. As Bob Harris, an aging American actor adrift in Tokyo, Murray delivered a performance filled with subtlety and vulnerability. It earned him an Academy Award nomination for Best Actor. Though he didn't win, the role solidified his reputation as one of Hollywood's most versatile talents. After a quiet period, he returned to film with renewed energy. In 2008, he appeared in the imaginative adventure city of Ember, reintroducing himself to younger audiences. A year later, in 2009, he made a brief but unforgettable cameo in the zombie comedy Zombieland, which became one of the most talked-about moments in the film and showcased his genius for self-aware humor. In 2012, Murray took on an unexpected role, President Franklin D. Roosevelt in Hyde Park on Hudson. His performance was warm, humorous, and layered, proof that he could bring depth to historical drama as easily as he could deliver punchlines. That same year, he reunited with Wes Anderson for Moonrise Kingdom, once again proving how seamlessly he fit into the director's quirky cinematic world. By 2014, their partnership flourished again with the Grand Budapest Hotel, where Murray held his own among stars like Johnny Depp and Jude Law, leaving another indelible mark in a film celebrated globally for its visual artistry and eccentric characters. His talents didn't stop with live action. Murray's instantly recognizable voice became a beloved presence in animation. He voiced the laid-back, lasagna-loving cat in Garfield, lent his wit to Fantastic Mr. Fox, appeared in Isle of Dogs, and voiced characters in Disney's reimagined The Jungle Book. His vocal performances carried the same charm and comic intelligence that defined his screen work. While his professional life soared, his personal life was full of triumphs and turmoil. During the filming of Stripes, 1981, his personal story shifted. On January 25, 1981, he married Margaret Mickey Kelly, a substance abuse counselor. They had a quiet Las Vegas ceremony followed by a formal celebration in Chicago, the city that shaped him. Their first son, Homer, was born in 1982, followed by Luke in 1985. Even as his fame exploded with films like Ghostbusters and Scrooged, Murray remained an active father, attending school events and games whenever possible. But the pressures of fame and long absences strained the marriage. In the 1990s, Murray began a relationship with Jennifer Butler, a costume designer. This ultimately ended his 15-year marriage, and in 1996, he and Margaret divorced. The split was painful, but did not end his role as a father. In 1997, Murray married Jennifer Butler, and together they had 4 sons, Caleb, Jackson, Cooper, and Lincoln, born between the late 1990s and early 2000s. Friends noted that fatherhood seemed to ground him, even as his career continued at full tilt. But this second marriage brought its own storms. On May 12, 2008, Butler filed for divorce, alleging domestic violence, infidelity, and struggles with addiction. These revelations shocked fans, offering a complex picture of the man behind the enigmatic public persona. The divorce was finalized on June 13, 2008, closing another difficult chapter in his personal life. Through both joy and turmoil, Murray's role as a father and his search for personal balance remained central to his story. Which brings us to the moment at 75, when he finally shared his thoughts about Gene Hackman, a fellow Hollywood titan he has quietly admired for decades. Fans had long speculated about what Murray really thought of Hackman. Both men carved their own paths through Hollywood, but their styles couldn't have been more different. Murray with his improvisational, ironic wit, Hackman with his weighty gravitas and commanding presence. When Murray finally spoke, his tone carried unmistakable respect. Gene Hackman was the kind of actor who never faked it, Murray said, his voice mixing reverence with nostalgia. When he walked into a scene, the atmosphere changed. He didn't need to announce himself or do anything flashy. He just was. That kind of authenticity is rare, not just in acting, but in life. Murray described Hackman as not just a powerhouse performer, but a role model. A lot of us, he explained, we were focused on getting laughs, getting noticed, staying in the spotlight. Gene didn't care about the spotlight. He cared about truth. He cared whether you believed him, and by the end of every scene, you always did. For someone like Murray, whose comedic career evolved into nuanced, dramatic performances, this praise carried weight. He even shared glimpses of Hackman's private side. People called him tough, intimidating, Murray said, but he had this dry, stealthy sense of humor. He wouldn't crack jokes constantly, but when he did, it was sharper than anything I could have come up with. And that's saying something, Murray chuckled, recalling moments on set when Hackman's unexpected humor disarmed entire crews. It was a reminder that beneath Hackman's intensity lived a man who understood timing and levity. The most poignant part of Murray's reflection came when he addressed Hackman's decision to step away from acting. When Gene retired, people were stunned, he said. But I got it. He gave us decades of brilliance. At some point, you earned the right to say, that's enough. He chose to write, to paint, to live quietly. I respect that more than anything. In Hollywood, walking away is harder than staying.